Take one.
Why does the back of the slate say facial?
Because it's an old
Does
tape
does Alan do porn on the side?
I mean, we're not paying them.
Can you mind your own business?
Love of the game, you know.
hey, man. Whatever pays the bills, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, who wants to do the intro? Mike, do you want to do the intro?
I think Adam should intro himself.
Oh, I did not prepare for that.
I think Mike can intro.
Welcome to Rap Drinks. Today we have Adam Lukens, Gaffer, business owner, fernet maker, bar owner. I mean, he's got a million fucking jobs. We're just going to find out which one he wants to talk about right now.
Well, welcome, Adam. Thanks for being here.
Guys,
Cheers.
Thanks for having me. This is
drinks.
a real joy.
Yeah, so well, let's start off by talking about the obvious thing, this thing right in the middle.
Yep.
What is this? What are you?
This is a.
I'm the only one not drinking it. I'm sorry.
Me either. I'm not drinking it.
Oh, okay.
I'm drinking it.
This half of the room is not drinking it.
It's one of the side projects that turned into a bigger time suck than I ever would have imagined. It's a fernet I make with a friend of mine, a partner of mine up in Vermont. It's a European styled Amaro.
Is that what fernet is? I mean, like a type of Amaro?
Fernet's like a subcategory of Amaro.
Okay.
It's typically a little bit higher alcohol than regular Amaros. It can have like a mint sort of profile.
Yeah.
Arcana Botanica.
And did you start making it because you were like, how can I deduct the expenses of me drinking fernet all the time?
Yeah, I mean, kinda.
Pro tip,
I mean,
pro tip.
at the very least, you'll make your money back just by selling to the people you work with.
Yeah,
Nobody in our industry. I mean, one person in our industry doesn't drink, right? That's like it's very low percentage.
And it's only really in January they don't.
Well, so here's my question: why fernet? What made you like instead of brewing beer or something? What made you pick fernet?
I mean, I just love anything kind of bitter, and especially like bitter spirits are always kind of been a real passion of mine, I guess. I mean, I've just always enjoyed them, and we decided to do a fernet just because we thought it would be. We think there's like a niche market there. I think there's like fernet's like a real bartender's drink. It's a real kind of industry drink. And that's sort of like that's our niche we're going for to start.
Got it. So it's something you can have. You can enjoy it on ice, or you can mix it with stuff.
Yeah, up at the bar that I'm a partner in up in Vermont, like our house drink is gin and fernet together. It's like a pretty solid drink.
Interesting.
I think fernet, a lot of flavor.
Yeah, I mean it's a strong flavor, so it's like it mixes well with some things and not well with other things, but. I prefer it just kind of straight or on ice.
Yeah.
What's your bar?
The bar's called The Archives.
The Archives.
Archives.
In
Burlington, Vermont. If anyone's
has anybody ever been kicked out of that bar?
We've kicked a few people out. One of the people in this room actually. I had to intercede as an owner to sort of talk security down.
Yeah, I punched the tapper machine.
Punched the tapper machine?
Yeah, you never played Tapper where you serve beer? It's like a video game where you serve beer.
Okay.
And BK was standing over my shoulder like, you're never going to succeed. You're a failure. And then like as I failed, I just fucking punched it. Funny thing is the tapper machine is right near the front of the door, so the bouncer was right there. Like literally standing right next to me. Had it been any other machine, I probably would have got away with it.
Yeah, you were like a second after you punched that thing, you were like in a full Nelson on the ground.
Damn.
Vermont goes hard, dude.
Oh yeah.
Don't fuck with Tapper, man.
Not in a tap room. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about how you got into this fucking industry, right?
Yeah, man.
So, sounds like you were in Vermont for a while.
I used to live there, yeah.
Is that where you're from originally?
No, I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
Went to school and lived in Vermont for a couple of years, and then moved down here. Went to film school up there, and that's where I initially got into doing G&E work.
What's the film school in Vermont?
Well, when I was there, the only film school in Burlington was Burlington College.
Okay.
It was at UVM for a year, University of Vermont, and I kind of got kicked out.
Like Tapper, you know,
Yeah. He punched a machine. Bouncer let him out.
You know, I was asked very firmly to leave, and which was fine. At the time, they didn't even have a film program, and that's like at some point I was decided that's what I wanted to do, and then transferred to this smaller school that had a film program, and worked on a million shitty student films, and I was like, fuck, I can do this forever? It's like, I'm moving to New York.
Did you have like a sort of goal for like a department you wanted to work in at the time? Did you just know it was G&E, or did you like want to be a cinematographer or something like that?
I mean, I think early on I wanted to shoot. I wanted to be a cinematographer, but like the thing that always interested me was lighting. So I was just, I just wanted to be in the lighting department, which in school I didn't know what a gaffer or grip or anything like that stuff was. Like I just was really interested in lighting, and I would just tell people that, and they were like, "Oh, come and light my student film," and they're like, you know, I interned on some movie, and they asked what I wanted to do, and I was like, "I really like lighting," and they're like, "Okay, great, you'll be a grip." And I showed up, and we had this like the first like movie that wasn't ever a student film that I worked on. Like I told them I was just really eager. I wanted to learn lighting, and they're like, "Great, you're a grip." I show up the first day. It's like a 5-ton truck that from somewhere, like driven up from Boston. I knew not a single piece of gear on that truck, and we had to it was my job to inventory it.
Nice. We got a weird thing that goes like this.
We have like 4 of those.
It's like 4 onky bonks.
Two things like this.
Bonk.
Oh, so you had a checklist. You had to like.
Yeah, I had a.
So they gave you the list.
I had a printout, and I was like supposed to go through and make sure everything on the printout was on the truck. And I'm like, okay.
Just matching numbers with what you had.
Yeah, there's 7 of this thing that looks the same. There's 7 of something on here that I don't know what it is. I'm gonna cross that out. And that was and just by virtue of doing that, I just kind of knew where everything was. I didn't know the names of anything, so people would ask for stuff, and I was like, "What is that?" And they would just like describe what it looked like. I was like, I know what that is, and I would run to the truck and get it. And like they were like, "Okay, you're a great best boy." My first week after my first film job, I got promoted to best boy grip, and never looked back.
I guess now it's like, how many different names for Onky Bonk do you know?
Oh God, there's a lot, and Onky Bonk is the fucking worst one.
That's the best one.
Where does that one even come from? Is that like an East Coast thing or a West Coast
It is
thing?
decided like a Boston thing.
Yes. Yes.
What is an Onky Bonk?
It's a beadboard holder.
Quacker.
Duckbill.
an Onky Bonk?
A duckbill. A billy grip. Whatever the fuck. There's so many
Billy
names.
Grip? I never even heard of
Oh
Billy
yeah,
Grip.
billy grip, baby.
Billy Grip.
Onky Bonk. Yeah. It's usually like the point of jargon is the shorten a word. Easy to call for. It's like, onky Bonk if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
Onky Bonk.
There's no R's in it. That's why it's a Boston thing.
So they can pronounce it correctly. Because otherwise they'd just be like, "Give me the quacker!" And they bring over like a saltine. They're like, "Is this what you want?"
Give me the quacker.
I said salsa, not salsa.
Oh my
Keeps
God.
asking for crackers.
This guy's a weird grip.
They must be really hungry.
So then you worked as
He's a
you
best
said
boy
best boy
grip.
grip.
Best boy grip.
Week 1. No, that was week 2. That was week 2.
That was week 2.
Yeah.
I was best boy grip.
Were you working in New York at the time, or was that still in Vermont?
No, I was still in school. And
New York was week 3.
yeah, I mean, I did that. It was like in the summer. Like I was off from school, so I just sort of jumped on this movie as like an unpaid grip turn, and
Grip turn.
Nice.
And I made some friends that like they had a couple of people from New York were up doing it. Like the Gaffer was up from New York.
Got it.
I think the Key Grip was in New York, or he eventually moved to New York at any rate. And they were like the only 2 people I knew in New York, and I just when I got done with school, I just kind of called them like, "Hey guys, what's going on?"
Nice.
It's like, "I'm free, I'm available," and that was just did some indie features through that, like the single connect, and then
So you moved to New York when you graduated?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you like live with roommates? You just jump ship on your own? Like,
I moved here with a girlfriend.
Okay.
Like, we moved here together. And then she moved back to Vermont, and I stayed.
how romantic.
Yeah.
Let's bring her out.
There's the twist. What was this movie called? Do you remember? Did you see it? Probably not.
The first movie I worked on, it was actually a TV show for Vermont Community Access called Windy Acres.
Windy Acres.
Starring
Watch that every week.
starring Rusty DeWeese, who was like he was like Vermont's answer to like Larry the Cable Guy kind of stand up. He had this like this bit that was like, he's like, I'm a Vermonter kind of hillbilly thing. He was like the lead. And I don't remember too much about it. It's like maybe they like ran an Airbnb or something, or a bed and breakfast. And it was just
they definitely didn't run an Airbnb.
It was just a B&B.
Yeah, it's too old.
B&B.
Yeah.
B&B. And it was just about how quirky Vermonters are, basically. You know,
Huh.
the exact thing that Vermonters, I think, probably like to watch.
It's essentially just like NPR but visual.
Yeah.
That shows the reason they live there. And that's the.
Yeah, it was like a bunch of like New Yorker comic humor kind of.
Interesting.
Well, then you moved down here, and I might know that you had a really fucking sick place in Greenpoint that you decided to build something in, and then.
Yeah, I moved down here. I lived in a loft in Greenpoint for like 8 months, and we built that sick mini ramp in there. That was.
He had a mini ramp in his loft.
A mini ramp for what, skateboarding?
Like for.
Yeah.
Were you. Was your apartment the one in Zoolander?
It was like.
It was based off that.
Okay. They saw your spot and then they were like, "Fuck, Hansel's got to have a half pipe." Yeah.
Like, I'm not joking. It was
So hot right now?
It was based off the apartment that Tom Hanks moved into in Big. You know.
Oh,
Remember when he gets that huge ass loft?
Yeah.
With like all those like shitty little toys. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of what that apartment was.
yeah. I think everyone who grew up in that era wanted that apartment.
Yeah. Man, I moved in this loft with 2 other dudes, 2 other grips, and they like jumped ship a month after. They like moved the fuck out, and I was really worried that I was going to have to cover the whole rent. Like I wasn't ready to move. So I just talked to my fucking slumlord that was running it. I was like, I'll still pay you my portion of the rent.
Yeah.
Because that's all I can afford. He's like, okay, I'm going to move some other people in here. He's like, you got to find.
He just found the tenants.
Well, he was like, you need to look for some people, and I'm going to look for some people too. And I was like, yeah, sure, absolutely. And I lived there for 8 months by myself.
Nice.
And then he moved in other people. I was like, okay, I gotta go.
Damn.
That dude sucked.
I mean, you said he was a slumlord. I don't imagine he's a cool guy.
Yeah, he owes me. He still owes me $300 in my.
That's not the same guy that owns like.
No, it was.
It's not
no, it's not.
Cut that. Don't.
Put that in, and put Bert's Instagram handle underneath.
And an address.
I don't work in New York anymore. It's okay. No, it's not okay.
So let's talk about that experience in New York, like coming here, living here with roommates, like working. Like, what was that experience like for you? Was there any point where you felt like not being in the industry at that point? Like, how difficult was it for you, like coming here?
I mean, for me, it was like I never really struggled, which is, I was like just kind of blessed. Like I moved down here, I kind of lined up a job. It was a Bollywood movie, and like it was starting before I was going to move here. I just kind of came down a month early and started working on it, and then like on my off days, would go back up to Vermont and like move shit down, and I worked with a crew on that, and they were all like really, really solid dudes, and like hired me on things for every job that they had after that. So it was like I landed here in New York, met up with a good crew, and I never was looking for work. I basically like have just been working ever since.
Wow.
Fuck you.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's.
All right.
I guess it just comes with being
Yeah,
really fucking
whatever.
good at your job.
Fuck you again.
Right there.
Burn that bridge with bro.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to.
Cut that.
I've talked to. I know tons of people that have like struggled to like get in and make it and stuff like that. And like, that was like never, like I never PA'd. I just was like always in like the G&E depart world. And like, I mean, like extremely lucky,
Yeah.
like,
Well, to be fair, like if you start in the Genie department, there is sort of a PA role within that department, right? You're not starting as like the key grip. You're starting like
No, he's the best boy.
yeah,
I started as a best boy.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, I mean, it was definitely doing like the shit work in the G&E department, which is like not better than being a PA at it.
It's
by any
better
stretch.
than taking the trash out.
I mean, it's
true.
just you just like
You're taking the trash out on the grip truck.
Right.
yeah, it's
just
like,
hiding all the
it's
beer.
Like you're shit on by everyone in like the G&E departments, but if anyone else from any other department does anything to you, the whole fucking grip department like fucking like what the fuck you say to my guy?
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
How long were you in New York before you opened a fucking rental house?
That's a good question. So I moved here in 2005, fall of 2005, and we started BLG in the spring of 2008.
Wow,
That's
3
fast,
years. That's quick.
I mean, yeah. I mean, at the start, it was like it was myself and my two partners. We were on a reality show, and we were just like looking around. It's like, this gear sucks. Why don't we just buy everything? And it's like,
Usually.
and we just like bought exactly the gear that the show needed, and it ran for like 4 or 5 seasons. So like 6 months of the year, every piece of gear we had just like lived on that show. And it's like we had we were getting totally ripped off by the producer. We had no idea. She really like knew exactly what she was doing. She's like, well, how about I'll give you guys $600 a week, and we're like, wow.
Way too production friendly, but you didn't even know.
We could split that 4 ways. That's awesome. Yeah, like no fucking idea. And so, and then like when that show would go down for a hiatus or whatever, or between seasons, we would just take all the money we made and like just turn it into more gear. And we were still doing indie features at the time, so we just kind of bought all the grip gear we needed for indie features, and then we had a couple HMIs, a bunch of Kinos, and we just like sub rent the rest of the lights. And then we treated it like we were a rental house that had all these things, but we were like, our margins were so small because we were sub renting like half the package.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why we were doing that, but that just seemed like the thing to do.
Well, it's probably cheaper than trying to purchase a ton of, like having the capital to purchase a ton of gear all at once.
Yeah, I mean, like none of us had money. We were working like indie features, so it's like we never took out a loan. We just did it with like
like your
Wow,
paycheck.
just like
went
your
towards
paycheck
the
went toward.
yeah, we just kind of like just like scraped it all together and just bought it, like built it piece by piece. Like for years we just paid for everything in cash. Like we never even had a credit card. We were like 4 years in before we had like a credit card for the company.
Wow.
I mean, like we were clearly not business majors.
Yeah. Well, you got kicked out of one school. So.
The other guys didn't go to school, so it's just,
And we can all like read books and watch movies and talk about them, but like
Yeah, numbers is a whole other game.
yeah,
For
like
sure.
trying to do taxes like a spreadsheet. Like, what the fuck is this?
No, they don't teach that.
Yeah.
No, not at all. That's crazy. So 3 years after you moved here, you started your company, and then you're basically paying for everything in cash. And like what? So that was 2008.
Yeah.
And did you guys only ever focus on like grip and electric stuff? You guys never did like camera stuff?
No, we never got into that. I mean, back when we started, it was like, kind of people didn't own cameras as much as they do now, right? It was like
True. Yeah.
like we were still shooting on like very cams that were like, $200,000 for a package. Like
Damn.
people just didn't own that shit.
Yeah.
You always
always
rented
a rental.
Yeah. So we just did what in our view was sort of like the low hanging fruit. We just like bought the Kino Flows and some HMIs and like
C stands.
and C stands, yeah.
Do you still have some of the original C stands?
Oh yeah.
They've gotten their value out.
That's one right there.
like strangely, like our first order of grip gear, it was like $8,000. We spent it at Modern Studios, and it came on a couple pallets. The order is like wildly incorrect, and there's so much of that gear is like kind of shitty. But like the C stands are still, I would say like 95% of the C stands are still in operation.
Jesus.
Crazy.
Like they're maybe missing their feet, but they're like not rusted. They work, like as long as they don't get like bent, it's like they're like.
You can buy new feet. You know that, right?
So, but the modern ones are the ones that like go on the outside, not the ones you hammer in. So they fall off all the time. They used to, the ones we have. That's how it was. Like it does, like the actual foot isn't, sort of like beveled. It's like flat. So you need the outside foot.
Yeah, and I bet like C-stand technology hasn't really changed in the last.
We were just
Since it
talking
was
about it.
invented,
We were just
like-
talking about this. It's like if you buy a light, you're gonna have to replace it in 5 years. You buy a fucking C-stand, it's the same thing 10 years later.
Oh,
like,
man. I mean-
the value of metal
Well,
doesn't
they're
go
the
down.
norm C-stands. Like that was the only like different C-stand. I
Yeah,
feel
that goes in
Yeah.
the trash.
I mean, like if you see like some of the, even like the old Matthews heads, they're like really skinny and thin, and they just like, they look really brittle.
The 12 different holes.
Yeah. Like, they made some improvements.
That one's kind of old, but I don't think it has the 12 holes in them.
No, that's only 8.
Yeah, those are all still kind of the modern ones. What is that? Was like Kupo or something?
some piece of shit.
Yeah, it's some photo C-stands. That's why they're back there.
That's why it's holding a shirt and a tank top.
That's all it can hold is the shirt, and specifically a shirt without sleeves because
The shirt
the
might
shirt had
outlast
sleeves,
the
it might
C-stand.
collapse. So, since you're an aficionado on C-stands, rank your brands top to bottom.
Ooh, okay. Well, here's one. This is
We're gonna piss some people off
this
right here.
is
Split the room right here.
we're gonna
Will you? I
we're
feel
gonna-
like everybody's got the same number one. Am I wrong on this?
we're gonna lose our discounted Amazon here. I think American C-stands are my favorite.
Okay.
And then I would actually go Avengers second. I go Italian.
I'm with you. I'm
mean,
with you on this.
And then Matthews number 3, only because there's kind of nothing left, and like they're not that great.
I mean norms, but yeah,
I mean,
that's,
but
that's not
sure.
that's not even in the ranking.
But like Norms is like not even. It's not even a company, is it?
Not anymore.
I don't think it has been.
I couldn't fucking.
But you
tell
can still buy norms. There's
Can you
just so
really?
many around there.
Yeah.
They're all used.
You go to
There's
the
no such thing as a new norm.
as like Joseph Finn auction or something. You get a
Vintage. They're vintage.
I mean, I take that back. Number 3 would be modern. Number 4 would be Matthews.
Ooh.
Interesting.
And what's 5? What's like the thing that you would be like, okay, I'll deal with this, but I'm going to complain the entire time?
Impact.
I was gonna say impact. Fuck yes. Oh God. Sorry. I'm so glad that he said that.
Well, these are impact right back there. Look at those brands.
Hashtag impact.
Good job, Impact.
Yeah, but impact is so stupidly heavy. You don't even need sandbags.
Right. It's
You
true.
got a built-in sandbag.
Impact is like
Why
the
does
thing
it have
where,
a
like,
spring in the fucking collar?
when you like start working with your friend that just got into film, but you've been there for a couple years, and you're like, "Hey, you should buy this piece of equipment." And they're like, "Oh, cool! I found a cheaper version."
Yeah.
The cheaper version is always Impact. That's what it is. Like,
The cheaper version is also only like $20 cheaper. Like, it's not even like that big of a difference.
Yeah, why this? I always wondered about the spring too. Like, what is the spring supposed to?
Oh, it's
No
an
idea.
anti-theft mechanism just because nobody wants them.
Oh, that's actually a brilliant idea.
Good job, Impact.
Make something so shitty
right.
nobody will even take it
just
for
bounced
free.
up to number one. Yeah, because of the spring.
That's good. I liked it.
Yeah. The puns are better when you don't explain them.
Shut up.
All right, so you did. You started BLG. You bought Reality
BLG,
Gear,
which stands for Brooklyn Lighting and Grip.
Brooklyn Lighting and
No,
Brooklyn
yeah.
Lighting and Grip, yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
this is the logo right here.
Yeah, and you also make really cool shirts, by the way, because I still have some. They're like a couple years old. They have the ones that like glow in the dark.
Oh, yeah, you got those.
I
Yeah.
forget because sometimes I wear them to go to bed, and like I'll go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and I'll go back to bed. I'm like, what the fuck is going on my shirt?
I forgot about those glow in the dark ones, yeah.
That's so good for like in a studio too, though, because it's like they turn off all the house lights and then all you can see is the grip with a unicorn on a shirt.
His name is Trevor.
Is
Is
it?
Trevor the Unicorn? Oh yeah,
Trevor the
from
Unicorn.
the YouTube
I never
thing.
knew that. Okay.
Yeah.
So whose idea was it to make it glow?
I don't
Whose idea was it to make a unicorn?
Oh yeah, that's a
that
good
was
point
kind of
too.
Yeah, you just ignored the obvious question. It went-
Because unicorns are cool. Like what's
Okay, yeah.
we have to go
there's
deeper than
there's
that?
kind of like a meandering story behind the
some lore.
unicorn.
We love meandering stories.
So
Keep going.
okay, you
it.
guys can cut this down for
Yeah, it's fine.
for broadcast.
40-minute story down to 40 seconds. We got you.
We're doing we're on a job. Like, all of us, all the partners in the company, we're on a job up in Plattsburgh, New York, way up by the Canadian border, and it's just this terrible indie. It's like just the worst condition. It's outside in the winter. It was a movie called Frozen River. Just the conditions were just absolutely brutal. And as it kind of goes on indie features, you're just like, you're already kind of punishing yourself, and then you find other ways to just like make your job harder. Like, we were just like drinking like heavily like every night.
Oh my God.
You know, we'd have these like crazy turnarounds where we'd have like, you know, like an 18-hour turnaround, and, you know, instead of anyone getting rest, we just like drink for 12 hours after like we wrapped, and then just like, you know, just like absolute madness.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah. And at some point during this sort of, I mean, it was fun. Like, being up there, it sucked, but it was fun. And at some point, my partner, Rusty, who we should definitely have on this show at some point, we were getting paid nothing, but I think we were getting $120 per diem for the weekends. And every weekend he would take his per diem and go to the mall and just like buy a bunch of dumb shit. Like, he would go to the Spencer's and just like, he bought all these posters and like knickknacks and like keychains. He was just like spending his per diem every Saturday morning at Spencer's Gifts at the mall, basically. And like, one of the things he brought back was a flag that had a unicorn standing on the moon in outer space or something like that. And it was just, we just were giggling about it. And we like put this rig, we built like a rig and like hung it on the side of the truck. And so we're driving around upstate New York with this unicorn that we started calling the Electricorn. And people were like yelling at us, like, fucking homos, you fucking, what are you doing? Like, people were upset about this unicorn for it was just a silly thing, but it like pissed people off up there. And we're just
Was it like rainbow colored or something?
yeah, it was like, you know, there's like a bunch of different colors. I mean, it wasn't like explicitly an LGB thing, but like, people up there took it as one or something, and they didn't like it. I don't know. I don't fucking know. And like,
This was like, what, 2009, 2000?
this would have been 2009.
Yeah.
No, this is the winter of 2008.
Okay.
Different time. Different time.
Different time.
That first recession.
Just got in the office.
Everyone that's mad just lost their house, man. You got to give them a break.
You know, it's like they lose their house. There's a black person as the president. And now there's a unicorn driving around their town. It's like, that's three signs of the apocalypse right there.
Yeah, totally.
The three horsemen.
And I mean, there was something like that, like really, the hate that this unicorn got, like, really kind of was like, this is awesome. It's like, we're gonna fly this. We got to get some. We built the rig better so it could go up a little higher. You know, like, so you could see it from further away.
You put the C-stand in the mambo. And it was like,
yeah, we used like half the rigging gear we had to like ratchet strap this thing to the side of the truck so it could drive around with it on. You know, like, and then it just became this like silly little joke. We had this like flag. And we would bring it to other sets and just like fly it on set, like fly it in staging. And people were always like, what the fuck is this thing with the unicorn? And like, we're like, what the fuck? Shut the fuck up. Don't talk about the unicorn. You know, like, yeah. And then when we started a company, it's like, we need like a logo. And it was just like unicorn with.
That's great.
Yeah. We still got it. We have like a little rag bag for it in the shop. It's like,
you guys bring it out on anniversaries and fly it up.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome because it's actually one of those things. Like the last TV show I worked on, the DP wore a BLG shirt on set one day, and I was like, "Oh, you know Lukens?" He goes, "Who the fuck is Lukens?" I know Rusty.
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh, so sorry. Like I only know 1/3 of the owners, like it, but it's so prolific that there's like so many people that just know BLG because of that. Like the unicorn is you guys. Like
I've seen people wearing the unicorn that I'm like, and I've like gone up to them, I was like, hey man, like my name's Adam, like that's my company, and they're just like, they have no idea what this is. Yeah. It's
like shitty rigs. You're like their rental house of shitty rigs. It's perfect.
It's like, where'd you get that shirt? And like, I don't know, like took it from my ex-boyfriend or something.
Yeah.
You know, like,
it's a nice shirt. That's kind of where your shirts are always very nice shirts. Like they're stealable. Like if I saw that shirt, I'd be like, oh, this is really
you would take that. You would take that from your boyfriend.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd take it from my boyfriend every fucking Friday, bro.
I fully intended to like get up to the shop and bring everyone some. Then we just got a new run of T-shirts, but
That's okay. You forgot. You don't have to like make an excuse.
We'll be here all day.
I didn't forget. I was just really hungover this morning.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna be hungover again tomorrow.
Just keep it going.
Just can't break the cycle, you know.
So one of the things we like to do on Raptors is talk about like our sort of war stories of like working in production, like some of those experiences of being on set and not knowing how the fuck you're gonna get through it. Like, are there any that come to mind from like your early days working on indie films of just like the most horrible things of you just like getting through it with your crew?
God, I don't even know where to start with that.
Every show ever.
I mean, certainly when I was coming up, I was just doing like indie features. Like, you know, I would do like 13 or 14 in a year. Like a job would end.
13 or 14?
Jesus Christ.
I mean,
That's why this man never stopped working.
Damn.
I mean, like a job,
10-day features. That's
like a job would end on like a Friday, and we'd do the wrap party, and then on Monday I'd be doing a checkout for the next one. It was like,
fuck.
Or like I'd be, they obviously they'd overlap quite a bit, so it'd be like finishing one or jumping off early, and just like,
yeah.
And I don't even know. Honestly, I don't know how I did that. Like that was insane. Like I just worked all the time, but like.
You were in your 20s.
I was in my 20s.
Yeah, that's the entire explanation right there.
I was single in my 20s.
Yeah. Yeah, you were paying a third of the rent at a loft.
Yeah.
With a mini ramp.
Yeah. It's like I just had to make sure I didn't break my ankle skateboarding. That was like the only thing I was looking out for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I ended up on like a bunch of movies. Like, I mean, the hardest thing always for like indies is just like when you're out in the elements and you're cold for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like working during the winter, like the movie Frozen River. We were up in Plattsburgh. It was negative 32 degrees the first day of shooting.
This morning. That was this morning.
It like we're shooting in like open fields. There's no cover or anything like that.
Man.
I did a movie out in like way up in Alaska. We're shooting out on the ice. Again, it was like negative 40 wind, like negative 40 air temperature. Like the first day.
Before the wind chill.
Before the wind chill, yeah.
Jesus. Fuck that.
And like I'm just being cold and like still like working. It's just like that's what like keeps me up. That's like why I don't do features anymore.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know. I mean,
you guys have one heater? Oh, I'm only gonna run it to the producer's tent. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. No, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like specific example. It's just like there's been like so many.
Well, I have a job that I remember
So many
you did
shitty jobs
with another Shitty Rigs guest. You and Smokey shot something together, right? With,
which one?
With Moonshiners or something like that, isn't that? And I'm just assuming, based on the topic, there must have been some Shitty Rig that happened down there.
Tell us all of the hood mounts that you did on Moonshine.
Interestingly enough, that show was about people digging for oil. We were just drinking a lot of moonshine while we were down there.
Sorry, I got that confused.
There was no moonshine on camera. Yeah, it was a show called Backyard Oil Barons about hillbillies digging for oil in people's backyards in Kentucky. And that is actually like one of my proudest rigs. I sent that one I sent to you was a hood rig with a piece of sash and a raincoat.
We have it. We'll pull it up right here. There it is.
And it worked. You know, that was I was like, fuck, why do we spend so much time on these hood rigs and these car mounts? Like,
what's the hood rig supposed to do? I don't know.
Mounting the camera on the outside of a car.
Yeah. The hood rig specifically is the hood, and it's usually the camera facing in, so you see the driver or the passenger.
Got it.
That's what and it can range anywhere from like an insane piece of like I-beam steel with a whole bunch of different like accessory ports on it that you can put arms and 3/8 pins and everything on, or some people just ratchet strap like a piece of wood to the hood and you just drill in whatever the fuck you need where you need it.
Got it.
Yeah.
So how did the raincoat and the sash work in this?
I'm curious about that too.
So the raincoat propped the camera up. And the sash tied it down.
Okay. So angle and strap. Okay.
and it was
Walk me through this again, please.
You gotta go deep. If you're
that's
trying to-
not a. That's
How
not
did
a
you
rig.
even?
well, I got the CAD.
rig.
I got the CAD drawing. I'll send you guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, can you do a plot for me?
Also, how did you end up in the situation? Was it just a shot that they weren't prepared to do, or
We
Had a ratchet strap
It
and
was
a
way
ring.
smoky. I mean, like,
so we like my unit. It was like me and a director and a PA, and I think one other person.
That's it.
We're just like our unit was like out doing stuff, and we were like filming these like, just wonderful people, but just kind of like they didn't really care that they were on a reality show or not, and like we just happened to be out. We're supposed to be filming them. One of them was just like didn't show up, and so we had like nothing to do. And like talking to like the sort of like lead producers, like I don't know what we should do today because so and so is not here. They're like, oh, we'll just go drive around, get like some ambience of like some like atmospheric shots of like the town and like the area, like maybe do some driving stuff. We're like, okay, and we had like the PA. We're just like, what do you got in your trunk? He had a fucking raincoat and a piece of sash. So that's how we
oh god, shot a bunch of B-roll of the town.
I mean, there was like gear probably somewhere like back at like base camp, but we were we're like an hour and a half out, out in the country or something.
Yeah.
Just like
An hour and a half away from base camp.
well, I mean,
Shut up.
I mean, we were like all these like we were like a bunch of different units that were like just following people around. So we had driven out to like an oil site, like a drilling site, and like nobody showed up to work that day, and we're just like,
this is why I thought it was a moonshine show.
yeah.
It's just in Kentucky, everything is an hour and a half away from everything else. That's it.
And so we're just like sitting there, and it was like nice weather, and it's like, well, we could just we go back to the hotel and do fucking nothing because we're in some shitty town in Kentucky, like, or we can just just tie it to the front, see what happens. Like,
See what happens. That's the shirt, Steph.
Let's see
See what happens.
I got you.
like if it falls, whatever. Then we don't work tomorrow. It's fine.
Right. Yeah. You wait 2 days to get a new camera, and then you do it again.
So are travel jobs like really, like kind of overrated, or you're like saying I'm like in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky, living in a fucking Holiday Inn, probably off the side of the interstate.
There are definitely things that like I hate about travel jobs, but like at the end of the day, the travel jobs are kind of like the carrot that keeps me doing it.
Yeah.
Like
Because you finally get to see like a new spot.
you go to places that like I'm never going to spend any time in like Cumberland County, Kentucky, right? And like I'm never going to do that ever again. But like being there for a month is like this is a weird, twisted fucking place, and I'm like glad I got to like see that part of America
on someone else's dime.
yeah. I'm like eating like the only vegetarian food I could find was the bean burrito at Taco Bell. It was like nothing.
Every day for a month.
There was fucking nothing to eat down there. It was the worst. But it's still like I don't know. It's like interesting places you get to explore. Just working in New York for almost 20 years. Like the amount of like really cool apartments that I've like shot things in. Like you get like.
I agree with that. Yeah.
You'll see like crazy like penthouses or like these weird like basement hovels. Like it's like you see so much shit that like you could live in New York for 50 years and never see half of like what you do in like a year in filming.
Yeah, for sure.
I love going into buildings in New York through the service entrance because I feel like you get to see behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Of like these really like go into the Plaza Hotel, but then they take you through the service entrance. So you're like, this place is fucked. Like
Everything's leaking.
It's beautiful. I have no fucking clue.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I got invited into a brownstone that I wasn't filming in, and I didn't have to put the booties on. It was for an engagement party of somebody that I've known for like a really long time, and their parents were just
Christian.
like, "Hey man, like sit down on the couch." Like, wait, I can sit on the couch. And they were like, yeah, do whatever. And there was like a 6-year-old running up and down the hallway. And I was like, dude, you understand this is a fucking brownstone in New York, right? Like, they hire people to take the art off the walls when we shoot here. Like, what are you doing? Like, it was a really weird experience. Like, the first time that I wasn't on a production.
You brought your own booties. You're just
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah, I was like,
I'm gonna feel better if I put these on.
Some Ramboard. He like rolled out some Ramboard.
Just like taped some Ramboard to his feet.
No, 100%. I was like, "This is."
You don't want me here.
I'm pretty sure I left early because I was like, I can't handle it. Like I had anxiety based off of like everything else I had experienced in those places. It was so weird.
Do you remember? You brought me on a job. It was a job in Montclair. It was a was it Fisher Price? It was like some baby job.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember? That was this. There was a time when me and Adam were obsessed with kegerators.
Oh yeah.
And
The frame skinner.
the frame skinner. We used to call it the frame skinner. And so he had like, it was like a 20-foot truck. On that truck, there was a kegerator.
The Freon just fucking shaking every day.
Yeah, it was on wheels. We just like wheeled it on there.
Wheeled it on there.
Put a cardboard box over the tap on the top, and yeah.
Yeah, and it was great. And after set, we just go in the truck and take a couple pulls and then get in the van and drive back to New York. But what we forgot to do is we forgot that there was a weekend.
Oh, it was all fucking warm.
Didn't have any power in the truck, so
we had a bunch of like hot beer.
and I'm pretty sure the PA who was driving the truck just drove it without like us strapping it down, because obviously we were drinking at it every day, so we forgot to strap it down one Friday, and then the PA proceeded to drive the car to the next location, and we showed up on Monday, opened that gate, and it smelled like opening up a dive bar.
Yeah. I actually completely forgot
I
about that.
remember you being like, "You deal with this, I'll deal with that." And I was just like, and I'd bring things into you, and you'd be like, "That is fucking just horrible." Like, "Oh god, we can't use a fucking half soft frost in there."
Core memory unlocked right now.
It was a smell, like, you know how I feel like smells always like come back to me, and that I remember opening that truck and being like, "Oh."
Oh man, it just like baking in the sun all week.
Baking,
And
yeah,
just like
a quarter thing of beer, some crazy probably IPA we had, and
yeah.
just baking in the sun all weekend, and then we opened the door to it.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
I do. I remember because then it was like all the 2x3s were like soaked. And
There was rags, so there was a bunch of shit that was soaked in stale beer.
And then we like bring the flags on set, and it's just like this house smells.
It's
like
a children's
fucking bar.
commercial. It's a commercial with babies.
Mommy, what's that smell?
So like the actual tap handle got hit and like just leaked shot beer on everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
And then they drove around, and it was just shooting
Just like
beer.
sloshing.
So were
all
they like
around.
soaking wet? What did you guys do to dry them off?
Just laid them on the front lawn of a Montclair house.
I think we probably like.
That's it.
I think we probably charged production for like damage.
I'm sure you actually did. Adam's really good at L&D. He's like, you're not getting away with it.
That's awesome.
I mean, I'm not like handheld or anything, but
No. I mean, they send it out specifically for that. They're like, go for it.
Here's our worst gear. I hope you break it. Like,
That was a good one. We had a lot of when we got obsessed with this kegerator, it was on this shoot, Heartshe Holler. That was the one.
God.
oh God.
It was an Adult Swim show. It also had Smokey involved in it, but
That was probably like the greatest job of my career.
I didn't realize you were on that.
pretty fucking solid.
I knew
job.
it was him and Smokey, but he never mentioned.
He was the key grip.
Okay.
Yeah, I keyed it, and then like I keyed it in B camera operated when they had B camera days.
Nice.
Yeah, but
Wait, hold on. Key grip / operator.
He said B cam op days, so he wasn't key grip
That's
and
like
B
it was.
cam op.
It was usually just one camera. The second camera was like a bonus. And
yeah, I mean, there was like a week or two where we had like 2 cameras to like shoot out actors, and like I bumped up to B camera. You know, I think that's like the film. It's like all like non-traditional. You know, you're always like jumping back and like
Is
you're
this
climbing
where
the ladder, but like sideways or something.
is this where the Mexorcism was?
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
This is where he met Martine, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
I remember
is-
bringing
our
Martine on the
our
set.
show is getting
And
like
you like
too-
looking at me when he like took like 12 by pipe and swung it around on set, and almost like decapitated someone.
Yeah, and I was like, "Who the fuck did you bring here?" And I was like, we can't have this kind of fucking wild man on set."
Yeah.
But then like 2 hours later, he's like my best friend.
Yeah. It's just- He's just holding a mirror board near Amy Sedaris' vagina, screaming, "Mexican!"
That job was. I mean, that last season, like we had this little lounge behind some of the set walls, and
Little. You specifically argued with art department to build the wall further out so we had more room.
I need somewhere to stretch out a little bit. Just like, I don't know, but we had like projector set up, we had the kegerator, we had beanbag chairs. It was like, I remember jumping off for a few days to do another job, and like we finished it I was like done at like 4 or 5. I was like, I'm just gonna go to the Heartshe set and like watch the World Cup and like drink some beers, you know? Like,
Yep.
it was the fucking best bar in fucking town.
It was great, yeah. We had beer delivered to set.
How did you guys get away with building a lounge on set? Like,
You'd be surprised at how easy that is.
There was so how they built the set walls, there was like a cyc wall. So they built one of the set walls in front of the cyc. So they couldn't put it right up to the wall.
Okay.
And then they also needed to give us room, and Adam argued for more room for lighting. He was like, if we're going to put a light back here, we need 3 to 4 feet back here. And then he would be like, actually 5. And then like, that's where his desk went. So we didn't actually, there wasn't like a good path back there. We used to walk on the cyc wall because we had so much shit. Like the 4 or 5 feet was taken up by his desk, the kegerator, like other things that we'd buy off eBay and bring.
oh my god.
Yeah, there were a bunch of
Packages getting delivered left and right, like nonstop packages.
There were a bunch of like Fleetwood Mac records hanging up. I don't know where this came from.
You just moved in the space.
It was like a little man cave kind of thing, you know. Like
That's where he was after the slumlord kicked him.
Once 8 months.
And it was positioned in a way where like no one would ever go back there from production, because like it was near the bathroom, but you had to walk past the bathrooms and then you'd walk behind. So like,
then we had like the genie staging that was like kind of like a barricade.
You guys would make it very uncomfortable to walk.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of points sticking out. Just like a little bit of a minefield.
There's a C-stand and
booby trapped.
Essentially, yeah.
Do you guys remember that show like Parker Lewis Can't Lose? Like from like the 90s or something like that. Like this dude, and it was like this kid in high school, and like there's like a teacher's lounge, and the teacher's lounge is like this crazy like exotic thing, but to get through it you had to like go through a locker. You know, he's like, hey, come on, follow me, and it's like it opens up and like, you know, this paradise of like, you know, teachers like smoking cigarettes and hanging out. Like that's what that grip lounge felt like to me. It was always awesome. Like it was like we like just always like we're just slowly taking up more and more space, and like they would use, you know, like art department would be looking for chairs, and like they'd be back in the lounge, and we had like taken them from props.
Every Monday they come into set and they go, why is this room so smaller?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like you moved the wall slightly.
Every time they rebuilt the set and they had to move the flat wall, Adam would be back there like fucking like being like, motherfucker, give us more.
Like kicking the flat out.
He's got a Sharpie line that he keeps drawing a new one over and over again.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, that's actually, it kind of like, it's a little mind-boggling when we even talk about this, that we were like getting kegs delivered to set. Like, I can't believe we did that.
I'd go out with a hamper, and I'd come back with a full hamper.
Oh my god!
There's like a fucking truck on the corner, like unloading kegs.
Oh, that's
It's
fucking
pretty
awesome.
fantastic. Like it's probably the best wrap party, informal wrap party I've ever been to on set. Like,
well, there was that like really shitty coffee shop / bar across the street.
they had a wrap party there, but it wasn't as good.
But they were like, so I mean, they were so used to when their things shooting in the studio, everyone would go over there for beers and stuff like that after work, and then like slowly the secret started coming out that there was like a keg back in the grip staging. So like the art department people would start hanging out in the lounge. We had like a little donation jar, so people put money. We were like making money on the fucking kegs too.
I know 100%. We have a thing called the electric cooler. That's my Venmo tag is electric cooler.
Oh, that's good.
Just so people can send us money for our beer.
But like the people that ran the bar started coming over to set with like buy one get one free tickets. They're like, why is nobody coming here? It's like, there's like better beer and like more shit going on over here, you know?
Absolutely.
Like, and then like at the end, like this was the last season of that job, and it was at the end, like it was a little bit of an open secret that like we had like a hangout lounge, and the producer basically came up to us and was like, how much does a keg cost? And we're like, are we in trouble? What the fuck is this about? And they're like, well, we want to buy some kegs for the wrap party. We're gonna do it right here. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then it was like wrap party. We just kind of like ripped the wall down. It's like, hey, here we are.
There's somewhere out there on Instagram. So there was an animatronics guy on set.
Oh yeah.
And there's a whole scene where
Corbin?
Amy's.
Yeah.
Can I pause for a second?
Why?
Because I have to piss so fucking bad.
Yeah, this is a good start.
No, I know, but I want to hear this full story.
All right, pee and refill. Pee and refill.
I'm so sorry.
Now a word from our sponsors.
Yeah.
This whole
You guys suck.
You know.
Yes, I got a good take.
No, but I mean, pretty much exactly what you said leading into that was like, oh, so the rap party for that show.
Yeah, it was a terrible lead-in. Let's just like admit that you had to break the seal on your other fucking words.
But so all I want you to say is that
Speaking of rap parties, I have to pee.
Hey, Bert,
Oh
fix your
my
mic?
god!
You gotta fix your mic.
More?
Just do better if you don't mind.
Do better.
Did I do better?
That's great. Thank you.
I did better.
So in the Grip Lounge on the last day, and this is, if you want to throw a rap party, this is probably the best way to do it. Hook up with the animatronics guy and figure out how you can get a fish to spray margarita out of its mouth.
Do you have to hook up with that animatronics?
Yeah, you just hook up with him. Just take him out for dinner.
Yeah, it was one of those little Billy the Bass things. You press it, and instead of playing music, it shot margarita out of its mouth.
Yes. So we made a fake. We essentially like. We were doing the part of the show where David Cross is it David Cross? He has that TV show.
Yeah.
Right? It's a TV show inside of a show called Wake Up White People.
Nice.
And David Cross is, when he ends the show, it's like a bloody mess. And like the directors and everyone was like, essentially, once we do this, we're wrapped, because like this is just we don't have the budget to clean this shit up.
Yeah, it was like the last thing for the show. Yeah.
So they did it, and then everyone's like, "Yay, we're done!" And there was talks of a rap party like in the future, but there was a keg behind the set, and everyone knew there was a keg, so they were like, "Yeah, we're just gonna go to the keg."
Yeah.
And then everyone started coming to the keg, and then Cortland like pulled this wall out with wallpaper on it from another set, and it just had the fish and a red button. And behind that, he had made this crazy tube rig to an like a pancake air compressor into like one of those like homebrew kegs. And I had made 5 gallons of margarita undiluted. Because I didn't know that you had to dilute.
Why would you dilute it?
No, I didn't know you had to dilute cocktail when you batched it. Like, I was just like, just make it straight. And no one drank it with ice. Everyone's just fucking putting it up there and hitting the button. The fish's face would come out to you, and then it would just spray margarita right out of its mouth into your cup.
Well, I mean, it was like into people's cups to start,
And then
it got like real, just like
and then
straight
into people's mouth. And then
it was like straight like fish to mouth.
Holy shit. Holy shit. Yeah. So I think we probably went through 4 gallons of margarita and a whole keg. And that's when the producers came up to me and him.
We're like, how do we get another keg?
And they we're like, and we thought they were going to just fucking just kill us. And they were like, how do we get another keg? And I remember being like,
well,
like in my head, I was like, it's $90. I was like, it's $150.
And like the thing is, like, it's only like 6:45 p.m.
It was sunny out. It was sunny out. Like, it was not dark at all.
And it was like, actually, we could call the keg.
Yeah, we
people,
called the keg
you know.
people, and they were like, yeah, we got these kegs. And we're like, perfect. We'll be there in like literally 30 minutes because they're right there. I think it was even less than that. It was like 5 minutes away.
Yeah, well, that was the surcharge of $50.
Yeah. I had to take my Volvo down there to pick up the fucking,
Roll it in the trunk.
gas.
It's like
That's gas money.
yeah, it's gas money. So then I remember Garrett specifically, he was like, that I haven't felt that way since college. Like, we walked into that stage, both of us like walking in a keg.
Oh, man.
And every single person was like, yeah, hammered. Like, all the margarita was gone, all the other keg was gone, and we were.
It's like a conquering army walking through the streets of
was
Rome or something.
insane. So like that party just, I don't remember how it ended, but it ended. We probably all went to another place because we ran out of the beer.
I mean, we were there kind of late. I think we all.
Did you guys have to wrap any of the gear and shit, or were you coming back another day? To do it?
Everyone was coming back another day. Like all the actors were getting drunk with us too. Like the World Cup was on. Like David Cross is back there drinking. Like
nice.
Everyone's just. This is it. Like we're just getting drunk on the stage.
Yeah.
And then I remember coming back Monday morning.
It was a fucking.
It was like sticky. Everything was You'd walk places and be like, and it just smelled like the bar again. And it was just like,
I mean, I don't know.
You came in late and then left early.
I mean, he was on another indie feature.
He came in, was like counted like 8 things, and he was like, "All right, I'm out, guys."
He came in to inventory. One onky bonk. Yeah.
I'll count the onky bonks and then I'm out. Yeah, I feel like we were all just like drunk all weekend for some reason.
It was, I mean, it was just kind of like, it was the end of 3 seasons of doing that show. So
yeah, it was like a real barn burner, as they say.
Yeah.
There's something to be said, but between like having a rap party and just drinking at the rap. There's a difference.
No, there's definitely
a clear
difference. Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, there was no hard line between when the shoot ended and the rap
exactly.
You know?
I'm sure there was like
great.
people were putting Baileys in their coffee that morning. They're like, last fucking day, baby. Like, yeah.
It's like the last day of school for like 8th grade. You're
Yeah.
Done for. Like,
Never coming back here.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
8th grade?
well, maybe not.
Yeah. You had an animatronic
specific.
fish in 8th grade?
I meant the
Shot margarita? Damn.
But no, I mean, I think the sort of
grew up in New York.
I think the sort of like emotional maturity level of a film crew is about 8th grade.
Yeah. That's what I meant. It's just there's nothing else to do today.
There's absolutely no impulse control.
Yeah.
It's like you're probably going to
no
get in
adults
trouble.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the maturity of 8th grade, but the logistics of a senior in college. That's
Yeah.
the,
Okay.
like,
Yeah, going to a rap party that is separate from the actual production or the set feels a lot weirder. It's like,
yeah, because you're wearing a button up.
yeah,
You're not wearing
dressed up.
You're not wearing this shirt.
It's like essentially like it takes you 2 drinks before you even want to like talk. Like you're like all closed off for a while. You're like, oh, here's my significant other I've never brought back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then you're like 2 drinks in, you're like, that was fucking crazy. And all the like, wives and boyfriends that weren't part of it are just like
they're
over
left
there.
out. Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they're all like standing against the wall, like watching everybody.
Yeah.
You're like, what the
It's that awkward dance where like there's 2 different sets of people.
Yeah, there was none of that. It was all just pure crew. We're like, and you're on the set, so like you're getting hammered.
Yeah.
You're like laying in fucking Nemo's bed, You're like,
On a hot set.
yeah, it's like it's not hot anymore.
Now it's sticky.
Oh god.
Yes, so that was the rap party. That was really good.
That was a fun job.
So speaking of that, like fish spraying margarita, like that's probably gonna fuck some shit up. So as a rental house owner,
Right.
since we are shitty rigs, and that's the top comment we get is, "What's the rental house gonna think?" What do you think?
Fair question.
I mean, I'm always, as a rental house owner, I am continually impressed with the ingenuity of film crews and like what they do and how they like make things come together to like get the shot. And it's like sometimes you're watching them, it's like, man, if they would have just ordered, a C-stand, they would not have to do this thing. Like, or they, it's like there are solutions in the world that exist that you don't need to do a shitty rig, but that's like the point. Like you're making.
It wasn't up to them.
Yeah,
That was the producer's fault.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I love seeing it, and I will often be in conversations like via email and on the phone when people like call and are asking questions about stuff, and it's like, there's like I want to help people. I'm like, but I don't understand what you're trying to do and what you're asking for. It's like, so like here, I'm just going to give you like a smattering of things that I would maybe find useful if I was in your situation. If they work, they work. I don't know what maybe they might not. I don't know. So it's like, I like the idea of just like giving people building blocks and they can like build their own little shitty rig however they
Yeah.
want. It's like a Rector set, you know.
Yeah, that actually made me think of something when I had to rent some gear from you for a shoot I was doing, and I had to like kind of trim down the budget a little bit. And so instead of getting like new rolls of gaff or like new rolls of paper, you were like, I'm just gonna give you a roll that has a bunch of used shit. And then you were like, you said like, if your key group can't figure it out, tell them to go back to film school. So I'm wondering, like, what kind of other shit do you do for, like, because that's kind of like, it's not a shitty rig, but it's like you've made a tape rope with like a bunch of used tape. Like, do you have other stuff like that you just kind of throw in with your rentals? It's like, this might come into use.
Actually, I do. Like I kind of built out all like our set kit. Like I have a bunch of set kits that are sort of like things that I like to have with me on set. And like I send them out on jobs all the time, and they sometimes come back with like, you know, completely depleted of like weird shit. It's like, you used like 200 zip ties? What the hell happened? You know, but like we have like a couple things like that. Like there's like, I have some like pre-built packages that like when people ask for stuff for like car rigging, that like it comes with all the things like I found useful in the past, or, you know, it's really like, I feel like the shitty rigs, the ethos of shitty rigs like really like leans heavily like on expendables, right? Like it's like,
Oh, totally.
you don't have like the hardware you need, so it's like you're doing it with like what can be purchased.
Well, it's a
quickly.
different line item too. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
they're gonna
yeah.
cut your gear, but they're gonna be like, "Do you need any expendables?" And you're gonna be like, "Fuck yeah."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like C47s, right? They're just clothespins, but someone decided to call them C47s at one point to make them sound fancy.
Like I feel like this is a myth they tell in film schools, and it just perpetuates itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with
Like
that.
I think it's someone that never worked on film, but like taught like a film 1 class, and for some reason was like, this is when you get to a film set, you're going to need to know they're called C47s, and then everyone's like, okay.
Well,
yeah.
the only like logical thing I could think is that like if you had it on a line item as clothespins and you wanted to charge $15 for it,
Exactly.
then like a producer would be like, really? But if they were called C47s and you explain them as like lighting modifier holders, they'd be like,
Sure.
yeah.
I mean, that's actually probably the origin story.
Yeah, I mean,
of that.
C47 rolls off the tongue better than LMH.
There was just like
That's
there was
it.
like one guy back in like the fucking like 1930s 40s who was just like, you know, cranking out. He's essentially making like 200% profit on every fucking
My
clothespin order that
understanding,
went out.
C47 was the catalog number of that item in a purchasing.
Shut up!
I mean, that's what they teach in film school. Yeah.
I was gonna ask you
Which catalog, Alan?
there was
Obviously Sears.
the Sears robots.
Nobody knows what Sears is anymore.
there was definitely a project that I worked on that we asked for clothespins for that specific thing. We need clothespins so we can attach gels to lights. This is what we need them for. And I don't know if it was with you or somebody else, but they came back with plastic clothespins.
Oh, that was amazing.
And we're like, okay, like we'll use these for a day, but every single one of them is going to melt. Like, because this is before LEDs were like on every single light, but it's like every tungsten light, you're like, okay, I'm going to put a plastic clothespin on a 2K, like it's gone.
Yeah.
You know, it's like now that gel is part of that light.
And then that's where Adam comes in and charges you for it.
Yeah, exactly. Now he gets a new set of barn doors. And he doesn't care.
I'm gonna have to call a specialty cleaning crew in to fix this.
I don't think he's going to charge for the barn door. He's just going to be like, I need a whole new 2K. It's just, they come as a single unit.
So I guess that's the next question. Is a shitty rig beneficial to you as a business owner?
I wouldn't say it's beneficial, but I also don't think it's adversarial either. I mean, it's like we're two different paths, you know, like, you know, meandering rivers that never cross.
Two boats crossing.
Well, I like you said it's essentially like it's an erector set, and I think that's like the best thing that I learned when I started. And is like there's like a million ways to do something.
Yeah.
And like it really depends on who your boss is. That's the best way.
Totally.
So I mean, there's obviously bad ways to do things, but like there's.
Well, I mean, there's this key grip. I'm not gonna name any names that like he brings a lot of business to us. I always know when it's his fucking order because there's like 400 pieces of speed rail on the order. And it's like, it'll be like an interview package, but there'll be like 100 fucking 8-foot pieces of speed rail. I'm like, what the fuck are you going to do with these? and I think most of the time it doesn't get used, but there's probably some time in his career that he needed more speed rail than he had. He's like, I'm never making this mistake again. Like just like thousands of pounds of speed rail on every job. I'm like, you don't even have enough stands to support this. Where are you putting this?
If I had to guess,
like whatever, man. Like
he was probably using the speed rail to make like the barricade before the lounge on his set.
He's thinking about
it's like a bamboo wall.
Yeah.
That's where he slept that weekend, dude.
Yeah, that could be. Could be. Yeah.
So guys, I googled C47s.
The guy with the speed rail? You Googled the speed rail?
C47s. And the answer is nobody knows.
So it doesn't matter. You just make it up.
There's three things. There's the catalog number, but no one knows what catalog.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
That's
Two,
not real, then.
the C47 was the most ubiquitous plane in World War II, and just like a very versatile thing.
What?
In number three, C47 was the name of a bin on a lot where they stored clothespins. So when they say, bring me they're just saying pull from this bin.
It could be both, right? Because the C47 in a way is kind of versatile. Like it's not designed for a set thing. It's designed for hanging clothes, right?
A C-47 would not, if you took off in a plane, that would fucking fly off.
Well, no.
The plane is called a C-47. Like a C-47, like a plane.
And it's shaped like that? No!
Guys, he's not wrong. It would fly off.
There's no, like...
You're missing the
There's
connection.
no, yeah, because there is no connection between whatever plane it was
In terms of
hear me out.
and the clip.
The C-47 plane is known for its versatility. Therefore, the word C-47 is used as a nickname for a clothespin because of its
versatile.
versatility.
It clips something to something else. That's not
But it
versatile.
doesn't. I mean, it clips more than one thing.
Oh, it clips into a piece of paper. It clips into a piece of string. It clips. Yeah, no, that's not.
I like that this is the hill you want to die on. Right here.
That is the hill I'll die on.
You can clip gel. You can clip clothes.
You could clip a shirt onto a 2x3.
No, you're right, guys. I'm wrong. I step off of this hill.
I like to break them in half and use them as mini camera shims.
When you flip them around, you make them C-74s, and then they fit behind things. Oh, ooh.
C-74s.
Yeah, you never done that?
Fuck all you guys.
You invert.
No, you don't. You don't get to join me on this fucking bullshit.
I fucking probably
I
taught you
believe
how
they're
to do
Oh god.
But like, what about when you make you like add the third clip onto it? So you make a B-74.
There's no third clip.
It's a B-74. You turn it around, you make a C-47, and then you add another one on top the right way, B-74.
I mean, Adam runs a rental house, so he knows this stuff.
Hold on. No, sidebar. Seriously, legit on this.
Get me
we
two. Get
we
me two.
need a video of Adam
Get
making
two
this.
clothespins. Get two clothespins now.
Get two clothespins. I'll do a live demo.
Oh shit! I gotta see this.
I have never heard of this.
I'm sorry, get to what?
C-47s.
Guys, this is
Bullets,
this
dog
is
ears.
New York. We call them bullets.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
All right, let's see.
Hi, Christian.
Thanks, Christian.
They're probably shitty ones, too.
These
I'm
are
sure.
real fucking shitty.
What I've learned with Adam, and this is just a tip, is anything that I bring on set is just bad.
I mean,
it's just shitty. This is the shittiest version you could bring because he wants to get his gear on.
Look, I'm just a peasant.
all right. Walk us through what you're doing right now.
I do not understand this at all.
So this is your B-74, right?
No. No.
Oh wait, no, I did it backwards.
Yeah, you're totally wrong right now.
C,
C-74.
yeah, C.
But that's not a 74. That was just.
Oh, you do it with the little.
Or the backwards ends are the clip, become a
Right,
clip,
right,
and
right.
that's what gets them to like. If you want to put something, say muslin on a street sign that's drilled to a wall, you clip it with that because
So
that
specific.
But exactly, this is the only time I've ever found a 74 useful. Is you need to get behind something that's something else, so you need the end. You need the slimmer end.
The narrow end.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Wait, no, because I needed this. Oh wait, I'm sorry, I'm doing this backwards.
Yeah,
He's under a lot of pressure right now. There's a lot of guys
Usually
on
when
it.
Adam
Shit.
does this, he's looking in a mirror. So
Cue up the Jeopardy music. You got the Jeopardy music over there?
Usually when I'm doing this, someone else does it for me.
And he's yelling at them to do it faster.
500 followers are watching.
Yeah.
Are they really?
well, what is this? A B-74? Is that word?
Yeah.
74. This new form of C-47.
This is top quality content.
This
Yeah.
is something.
We're just watching paint dry right now.
I'm
You guys are
I'm
gonna, you
all
guys are
in
gonna,
on this. You guys don't even understand. I'm actually for this.
you guys are gonna have to sweeten this in post. You know?
Well, you just gotta hold it up.
Yeah,
far
hold it up a little
enough
higher.
out.
Our sound mixer is operating the camera.
Shut the fuck up. Wait, it uses 2 springs?
Yeah, because
All right, but I'm still waiting for you to explain to us what is actually going on.
Is there a sponsorship right here?
Oh my god.
guess-
This
I
is
guess-
something.
I guess I don't remember how to do it.
This is brought to you by Fernet Vexia.
By Botanica
Available
Arcanus.
at Arcana Botanica.
Wait,
Oh,
here,
sorry.
here, make a C47 or 74,
Yes.
and then I'll modify that. I can't remember how to do that.
You jackass. Now you're gonna make me look like the asshole.
This
Wait,
is
do you remember that short-lived company called Bullet X?
Yes, yes,
They,
yes.
they sold the C74s, but they were black.
There's so much money.
Bullet
Shut up.
They were like $2 a piece or something.
That's a thing?
14. You could get 14 clips for like $35.
So
No
you're
way.
telling me there's an opportunity to make some shitty rigs merch right here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you could.
seriously.
We could
Less
just
than
have-
$2.
We could hire a bunch of interns to just flip fucking C47.
Or hire this guy.
Yeah, just
So this right here, this is what I call
That's a
C74.
Yep.
So you got
So what-
you got the
explain that.
you got the narrow end now as the clip.
Okay.
I'm gonna hand this off to Adam.
is that what people on the TikTok are saying? Do they agree with the C74?
Well, then, what would you use that for? The C74. What's the application there?
Okay, say you've got like a street sign, like a handicap parking only, drilled to a brick wall.
Okay.
You need to clip something on that wall
Okay.
for whatever reason, and the only thing you have to clip to is a handicap parking sign.
Gotcha.
actually-
Now you need to get the really narrow part.
Gotcha. Okay, so now what's this?
B47.
Okay. Explain to me. So it's a C47 with a C74 on the other side.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like it's just as useless as the C74, but it takes more material.
So you can charge more for it.
This is what we call adding value to.
So it takes
Can I see that?
three C47s to
Fantastic
make
that-
2 B74s.
Wow.
Fantastic that you didn't know how to do that until you did that.
This one right here.
I'm all for this.
That is a B74. So narrow pinch on that side, like chopsticks, and then big bite.
Yeah.
Side right there.
I mean, honestly, you're talking about these set
Shut
kits.
the
I
fuck
could see if you had 12 of those in a set kit, I'd probably use one.
Yeah.
Okay.
You couldn't afford that set kit, but
I'm charging
Oh
it
my
to production.
God.
So where did you learn this?
Film school.
When he was-
actually I don't know. I think
Just now.
I think I
Literally just learned it now.
just made it up.
you drink enough Fernet.
So
Arcana Botanica.
So I was actually on the job. Bert was talking about like clipping something to a handicap sign.
That's legit the only reason.
So Bert had done that with a C-74 and it fell down. So I came in and built the B-47 to fix it.
So you bit the sign, and then the other. What was the other side holding?
I don't know something.
So is that what you're saying?
Important?
You made it a B-47 just to fuck with me?
Wait, is essentially the use of this so you can bite something and then bite
B-47 a
something
plane, though?
again?
It seems like you would use it to bite something where there's a narrow amount of space. Right, you need to mount it onto something with a narrow amount of space, but you need to bite something that it's a little thicker than the thing you're mounting it to.
But it's essentially a double bite. Like he can bite this somewhere and then bite something independently, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like I like to use it like when I send like
You never use that.
I use it all the time when I like when I have to send like our intern to the store for some beers or something. Like I put the list and I clip the list and then clip it to his shirt with the money, and then they go to the store.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah. You'll need a third clip on it.
So a B-47 is actually a bus.
Shut the fuck.
Okay.
Wait.
Okay.
No, that's just a bus line.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it looks like a bus.
Oh, you know, I used to live off the B-47. Actually,
Maybe that's where it came from.
yeah, that's where it came from.
This is the Q-23 going to Queens.
Yeah. Oh man.
Well,
I hate all of you. Just everybody needs to know that right now.
That was great. I love any episode where we can piss Bert off. It's a great episode to me.
You're all wrong. Everyone's wrong.
yeah. So I mean, after that, I don't even know what to fucking do anymore.
Yeah, what are you guys gonna do with all this golden content?
We need to ask you, as someone who, like, you know, you started out as, you know, as a best boy grip, and then you started.
You were born into this world.
You came out of the womb as a best boy.
I came out of the womb in a Carhartt and a pack of Marlboros.
And then 3 years into your time working as such, you started your own business. You know, Grip and Electric Rental House. What advice would you give to people like just starting out into this business?
Man, like, well, my knee-jerk reaction to that is don't.
Really?
I mean, quite honestly, like, I think the industry, as we know it, is like in the midst of a sea change.
Okay.
So I think a lot of the experience that I have, like coming up and like in this industry, is like not necessarily going to apply to like the next generation. And I don't think it's a bad thing or a good thing. I think it's going to be a different, like in 5 years, it's going to be you're starting in 5 years, it'll be a different world than it was 10 years ago, you know? And like
in what way? Like in terms of like lighting principles, or in terms of just like the way you came in, or?
I mean, I think a little bit of both. I mean, like when I started, if you're doing a night exterior, like that was a heavy lift. Like you were, you know, you had a big crew, like the smallest indies, we would run like 7 or 8 people grip crew, genie crews. You know, we'd have generators all up and down blocks. Like, and this is lighting like New York City where there are already street lights, there's already ambient light.
Yeah.
Like you just like, we're shooting like, you know, 500 T, and like you couldn't see into the night, and like you needed to light what you wanted to see. And the way the cameras are like, I mean, cameras are just like so much more sensitive now. Like you can see a lot more with like available light. So like you're just like the sheer amount of like heavy lifting isn't there the way that it was, and it was like, you know, you used to have to like really manage and plan ahead of time to do anything you wanted to do. There was no just kind of winging a night exterior back in the day, and I think now it's like you have as filmmakers, you have the ability to just kind of like, you know, kind of jam a little bit more, just kind of like go, like, you know, you can be more flexible with smaller units, like with LED units, like low power units. You can run them off streetlights. You can run them off like tiny little generators. We used to like have to like put like whole like plants like, you know, half mile away and run like, you know, hundreds and hundreds of feet of cable to like just get exposure on buildings, like not even like on talent. So I think, and like you needed so much more labor back in the day to like make a movie, which you don't now. So I think crews are getting smaller. I think crews are getting like nimbler, and you have the ability to do more things than we did when I started. So it's like years of my life were like years of experience. It's all stuff like, I don't need any of it now, you know? It's like, I don't think people coming in need any of it.
It's not necessarily a bad thing, though. It just feels like a lot of things got smarter.
Right.
Like cameras
Totally.
got smarter.
So I'm going to throw you under the bus with this question a little bit. Do you think that like the gaffers that have had the resume for the last 30 years doing this stuff over and over and over again, this is the way it has to be done? Do you think that they know more than the gaffers that have been doing this for 10 years? Now that like equipment has changed so much, do you think they've kept up with it, or do you think that like everybody's kind of on a level playing field now? Like younger people might be just as equipped to do this as older people.
I guess short answer, like yes. I think that you do not need the sort of like the level of experience in hazing that you may be like used to. Like you don't need to accumulate the amount of knowledge that you used to need to kind of like make a go at it. And like, and also, but like if we're talking about, like, honestly, like if we're talking about film, like it didn't matter if you were good or bad. Like you needed people to trust you, because like people were trusting you to do something and they weren't going to know the results till the next day.
Yeah.
You know? So like there was like a level of, I'm just going to go with this guy because I've used him before and he hasn't fucked it up. Or I'm sorry, this person, you know, like this person is like, I know that they do good work.
Yeah.
And I have to trust them to do good work because there's no monitor that's going to tell me that it's on or off, you know? It's like, so that doesn't exist because everybody's got a fucking monitor now, right? Like, so you know when you're getting bad work from somebody immediately.
Yeah.
You know, so I think, I mean, so it's a long way of saying it's like, yes, like starting in the industry, you don't need to know all this stuff, but like you do still have to perform at a certain level because everybody's watching what you're doing. Like it still can't be shitty work. You still got to be good, but you have the ability to have a monitor in front of you. You can like, you know, trial and error, you can learn, you can test things and you can try different things. And if it doesn't work, you can do something else. But it's like, you have like instant sort of like results in front of you. So you know what you're doing. Like you can check your work. Where like in the past, like you kind of couldn't. You were like, you could do a point, but at a certain point, you're like, fucking roll it. We'll see what we get tomorrow, you know? Like, so, I mean, I don't know if there's necessarily, I mean, there's obviously an advantage of just like being in the industry for a while. And like, there's so much more to just lighting than lighting. Like it's like crew management. It's like, you know, interfacing with producers. It's like, you know, personalities are always like a thing. And there's, you know, efficient ways to do things. There's like, you're like running a crew. There's good ways to do it and there's bad ways to do it. And there is experience. So there's ways to do it well and there's ways to do it bad. But like, I think you can start tomorrow on a set and move up like way faster than you probably used to be able to. Which I know, again, it's like I don't think it's good or bad. It's just different than it was when I was younger.
Right, and it's almost like, okay, we did this on this show, so now this next show they gave us a little bit more money. Let's try this.
Yeah,
let's try this larger thing, see if it works, and then you keep going.
Yeah, I mean, like if I had any advice, I guess at all, it would just be like, use every opportunity you can to like experiment with something new. Just like try new shit. Yeah. You know, like, and if it works, it works. Like keep it in your pocket for like later. If it, you know, it like looks great, but like everyone hates it, you're like, well, I'm gonna save that one. You know, I'll bring that out later.
Because it might work for this other project. Yeah.
You know, just like, I don't know. One, get a real job. Two,
experiment.
if you're gonna do it, just like, just
go
keep,
full in.
Yeah, just like keep trying new stuff. Like,
you
know, that's, I mean, I feel like that's in a lot of ways like film for me. Like the film crews are always like, it's like that like Isle of Misfits. You know, it's like everyone that like doesn't really have a real job or couldn't really survive in a real job, and it's like there's like so many creative people, like so many like interesting people, and like you very quickly just get beat down by the fucking work. It's a grind, you know.
There's better ways to make money than
the
film industry.
I mean, it's like it's awesome when you're young because you're like, you know, like when I was like fresh out of film school, you know, like I'd go do a music video. It's like $400 for 12. We'd work like 20 hours. I'd walk out of there with like, you know, $1,500 in cash. And I was like, that's more money I'd ever seen in my entire life. You know, I have like friends that like went to college and are working like middle management doing shit and they're not making that. And it's like, you're super rich. I had no responsibilities, you know, like, and it's awesome. But like that $1,500 doesn't change when you get older. Like you're still going to you're still like 20 years later, do a music video, you might get $1,500.
Yeah.
Like you hit a plateau with like what you can earn like pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, for me, it was like the gear is like a way to like increase your sort of like your day rate and your livelihood and like maintain it.
But it's also, you're also seeing it as like an insider, like what people are renting, what they need. And like as a business person, like I guess that's how you learn the business side of it, right? It's like you see what's actually working, so you know what to invest in.
Right.
Yeah, and totally. And it's like we like BLG it's all gear that like we like to use. You know, like we're all gaffers, so it's like we don't have a bunch of shit that we don't use. Like, it's all stuff that like I use when I do jobs.
Do you see it as one of those things where like when you broke into the industry, we use this all the time, and now there's like new guys coming in, they're like, what the fuck is that? We're not going to ever touch that kind of thing.
And then just about to ask.
And it's like one of those things.
What relics do you have at DLG
like,
that like you love that other people don't even know about?
Like the coolest, most beautiful light in the entire world is the fucking Airy Ruby 7.
Yes! Oh my God! Yes!
It is.
Why are we not best friends?
It is the absolute high water mark for a multi-unit fixture, and I love. We have 2 at BLG. I could bring them out whenever I can, and we basically needed. I did this commercial like early last year, and I was like stepping in. It was like someone else's plan. Like I was just kind of stepping in. Someone that got COVID or something, and the goal was a bunch of 20 bys like over. It was in the studio. A bunch of 20 bys overhead, ultra bounce, and then just like maxi brutes, just kind of like bouncing in, just giving like ambient fill to the spot. And I was like, maxi brutes. Why don't we use like a Ruby 7? We can focus them a little bit, you know? It's like they look cooler because they're going to like kind of catch in shot a couple times. And I brought these things out and people were like, what is this fucking light? And I was like, oh, let me tell you. This is called a Ruby 7. Don't touch it. It's like, they don't make it anymore. There's no spare parts. You know?
So hypothetically, some idiots out there might not know what this light is. If you wouldn't mind describing it.
Okay, so it's
We'll show a picture of it too while you're describing.
It's a fixture that holds 7 par 64 bulbs in a sort of circle array with like it's like 6 around the outside and 1 in the center. Wow. And they're on like a little worm drive, so you can pan. They sort of like spot flood. Like they like will tilt in.
Like a handle in the back?
It's a handle you turn.
It's like you legit like. You know,
it's like some fucking like 80s fucking spaceship shit. You like turn it and open it.
Okay.
It's like the unit itself. It's like kind of like wrought iron cage. It's like it's kind of weird
like
looking.
Baby blue, right?
Yeah, it's blue. It looks cool. It's like really kind of clean. It's like it's what when it came out, people were probably like, "This is what the future looks like." You know, like because like the alternative is the mole or ultralight maxi brute, which is a similar thing. It's 9 lights, 9 par 64s, but they're in banks of 3. You can kind of turn. It's just like it's like boxy, and it's like it seems like really kind of lo-fi. And the Ruby 7, man, just this beautiful fucking like it's just a model of like German efficiency and precision, and this like kind of at this day and age, like not a very used light, but
I really love. No one uses it anymore, but I remember it was really popular when I was first starting. Is the Barger bag light?
Oh hell yeah!
That was just like it was a pain in the butt to run cable to.
So fucking
just
hot
like 3
too. Yeah.
Different 20-inch stingers. But that was like the original, like big, soft, like cool beauty light. Yeah.
I specifically remember the second feature I ever worked on was with you, and we were way up north.
Ruby 7s.
Yeah, exactly. We were way up in New Hampshire. We had Ruby 7s, and it was one of those things where it's like where you were way more worried about balancing the load on the generator. So we had a lot of lights running on one leg and a lot of lights running on another leg, and we need to balance the third leg because nothing was running there. So I grabbed a Ruby 7 off of the truck, and I spotted it in on this tree that wasn't in the shot, and I put like a gel in front of it, and everybody was like, why the fuck are you wasting all your time doing this? And I was like, because it looks pretty. And they were like, but it's not in the shot. And it was like one of those things that I was like, yeah, but it's fun. Like, it was like just doing this whole like fucking weird like spin like motion to like focus everything up on this one spot and like put the gel in front of it and like light up this one thing to make it look cool to everybody that wasn't working over there on set. Like, and you and like 3 other people were like, don't waste your time. I was like, all right, fuck you guys.
Yeah. Well, that job I hated because back in those days when you did a night exterior and you were in the woods and they were like, we're going to use Ruby 7s, they'd be like, put the Ruby 7 300 feet away from us. You'd be like, I got to run fucking 400 feet of fucking like
60 amp
like
or 100 amp
4-aught into the fucking woods and then I got to break that out and like.
I mean, it's not it's a heavy light.
Yeah. No, it's not.
Was it a 60 amp or 100 amp paddle?
It's a 100 amp paddle.
100 amp paddle.
I mean, you can put whatever you want on it, but.
So you can't run it on V-mounts.
Yeah.
No.
It's battery operated.
It's like 400 V-mounts.
Yeah. It would be cool to try.
You can experiment with like 10 car batteries.
Next episode.
On the next episode of Shitty Rigs, just like 10 Ubers connected together to power a Ruby 7.
1 Tesla.
Yeah. Actually,
How long
Teslas
was
would have
it?
been fucking awesome.
How long
like,
will a Tesla run a Ruby 7?
Yeah.
Ooh.
The Ruby 7 mounted to a Tesla. Just drive the Tesla until the Ruby 7 turns off.
I mean,
and
honestly,
the Tesla dies.
The Tesla
If for
would also
some
turn
reason
off.
we had Teslas and we didn't have LED lights, like if there was that world that existed, Grips would be buying Teslas and charging production to drive their Tesla to the fucking light and plug it in.
I will
Oh man, can you do that?
I will say
you could.
Well, I know you can
Hold
do it
on.
on the Ford. You can reverse the charge.
Yeah.
100%. There are people now that with electric vehicles get to park closer to set because they have to charge their vehicles.
Yeah.
Like when production finds like, oh, this is crew parking, it's always a church. It's always a church.
Yeah.
Churches will never have electric plugs.
God needs money, dude.
Exactly. But he doesn't. God doesn't put in electric chargers. So the people with the electric cars will drive right up to the truck or the generator or whatever, plug in right there, and they'll always get a pass.
There's nothing more beautiful than a Tesla charging off a diesel generator.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you remember that like short film we did like a year or two ago out in Jersey? And like that sound guy would bring his
He literally.
I was waiting for this to come up.
Hold on.
He'd pull his fucking Tesla right up to where the lift gate of the truck was, to the point where the lift gate was
like
unusable.
blocking the lift gate. To
And then
charge
he'd be
his
like, "Can I
fucking
charge
car."
my Tesla?" And I'd be like, "You want me to run a gasoline-powered generator, charge your Tesla?" He'd be like, couldn't get the
Then he-
supercharger."
Then he like plugged it in and there was like tripping breakers. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's like we're using all LED lights. Like, why are we tripping breakers? Oh, there's a fucking car plugged in.
I remember like the last day he wanted to leave and we had all the gear and we were trying to pack up the car, and he just made this. It's in my memory because Teslas make a really weird noise when they back up. It's like wah, 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 wah.
Yeah.
So it was like he pulled in nose first and then he made a 19-point turn to get out of the driveway. And we're all sitting on the lift gate just watching him. Like no one's moving anything. We're just like, he's like, wah, 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 wah. Wah, 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 wah.
And then
Who did we have? We had someone with us that was like gonna like, go move a cart to make his life like 1,000 times easier.
Nestor.
We're like, do not fucking touch
Yeah,
that
we were
cart.
like, Nestor, don't fucking touch that card.
Nestor, yeah.
Oh my God, I love Nestor.
if there was someone coming into the industry that was like looking to get into G&E or just have like a package for themselves as like a cinematographer or something,
Yeah.
what are some essentials that they should have in that kit?
I mean, kind of things change so fast now. We were talking about like lighting. I think an excellent cheap problem solver are the quasar tubes. Like they're bright. It's good light. I mean, you get them for like $25-$30 a pop now or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, you get a couple of those in an old Kino housing. I think it's like the cheapest way to make like nice, pretty soft light.
Yeah. Can you get, are they longer than 4 feet or only 4 feet?
I know at some point they made longer ones. I don't know if
They
those are still
made 8
available.
feet ones.
Yeah.
I looked into them. They're expensive.
Yeah. So the 4 foot ones are probably the nice range of.
Yeah, I mean, it's if you're like carrying it like in your car, like 2-footers, or get like a couple like 2-footers. I mean, those are like, I mean, they're a little bit outdated, and like, I mean, honestly, like the quality control on them is a little rough, but
Yeah.
They're cheap, and for like indie features and like indie stuff, I think they're great lights.
Okay.
I think you should, as a, if you're looking to do it on a budget, like so many lights offer like RGB options, and like you do not need that. Okay. Like that costs more. Stay away from it. Like at a certain point, the color science for like full spectrum lighting is going to be a lot better, and like you're going to want them, but like as it stands, like we're not there. Like, do not waste your money on RGB lights.
Just wait for the technology to get better and for it to
get
cheaper.
If you're on a budget, there's plenty of good RGB lights, but they're expensive. Yeah, so if you need something cheap, I would just stay daylight tungsten. A good Airy kit is like, you can do so much with like
Airy kit.
You can do so much with a T1, man. Like, take over the world basically.
What's like a non even equipment related, like expendable world, like in that diffusion blocking light out type of world, what would you have
what's
as an
your
essential for like something where you can make a little kit for like maybe under $100 or $200?
I think you make a kit for free. Just take a bunch of diffusion off like whatever job you're doing.
Yeah,
like
fun.
Steal, pillage.
Yeah, it's like if you just having like a good set of like hand tools, like, and a good blade, and then just like you can get like a little gel roll with some diffusions, like that'll like save your life. I think like I remember back in the day, I used to go to like Joann Fabrics and buy muslin, which is like the fascinating thing about muslin, the fabric. It comes in like all different thread counts. So you can get like thin ones or really thick ones. Like in the film world, it all comes as like one density from manufacturers. Yeah. But you can go to Joann Fabrics and buy a yard for like 80 cents. You can get different like thicknesses of muslin to use as diffusion. I think it's my personal favorite thing to put in front of LED lights. I think like the sort of organic nature of it is like, it works for the way my brain works. It makes sense, but it's also just like a really pretty way to diffuse light, and you don't need to pay film prices for it. Like Joann Fabrics, like you can get like a whole roll for $20 or something.
Yeah.
This episode brought to you by Joann Fabrics.
Hold on.
And while you're there,
like disclaimer.
Say hi to my mom.
Asterisk, because when you buy it on Film World, it's a bounce.
It's not necessarily.
When you're buying the stuff from Joann Fabrics, you're shooting through it.
No, we do. Like on Eat, Pray, Love, it was all Muslim book lights. It was Muslim bounce, Muslim diffusion.
So it's both.
It was both.
It's gender neutral.
It's direction neutral.
Interesting.
No,
Interesting.
I use it for diffusion even on rags like all the time.
Okay.
Like I use it in place of full grid usually.
Interesting.
Wow. Okay.
You like bleached or unbleached?
I like bleached for studio work, unbleached for sort of location night work.
So as a rental house, what's like the craziest sort of ask you've had, or what's an ask that you've had that you couldn't quite figure out what they wanted?
There was one. This is a couple years ago. Someone had called and they said they wanted a horse mounting kit, and I was like,
"What?"
And I was like, Is this like some union shit I don't know about? Like, it's like, we don't. What do you mean a horse mounting kit? And I was like, sure. I have all kinds of stuff. I don't know. I strap speed rail to a horse. I don't know. Like, I don't know how that works. And like talking to this person who was, they seemed very nice, but like very green. and I was just like wrapping my mind around it. I was like, I don't understand what you want to put a camera or a light on a horse? And they're just like, yeah. And I'm like, where? Like, all over. Like, and I was like, I was like, God, like this is.
You're like, wait. First off, which one? A camera or a light?
Yes.
Yeah, where is also really good.
Just yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And like it's like I'm trying to like ask more questions. Every question I ask, it confuses me more, and like it seemed like it seemed like they were gonna shoot in like one of those like horse and buggy things in Central Park.
Okay.
Oh, that's
So they didn't say
so
carriage.
different. That's so different.
But I don't know, because I was like eventually like left as like, I don't know. You need to talk to your key grip or somebody else that's not you to like send a list of like what you need, or send me a picture of what you're trying to do. Draw a picture, like whatever you want. Like I can help you, but like I don't know what the horse mounting kit is. And
Just like, 300 pounds of speed rail.
Was it the kid you were talking about?
And I mean, there's no real good ending to this story because like I never figured it out. Like I don't know.
Well, if you guys know what a horse mounting kit is,
Yeah, let us know in the comments, please.
let us know in the comments. Adam's gonna put that kit together and charge a top dollar for it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Adam, it's been a pleasure
Oh man, thanks for having me.
you on
Yeah,
this.
it's fun.
Thanks for coming here. Thanks for bringing some Fernet.
Of course.
Thanks for sharing some awesome stories with us.
Do you want to hold it up?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
One last fucking
One last plug.
If you like Fernet, buy that.
That's your camera on the left.
Is it? Is this one? There you go.
Yeah, that's a 2-shot.
That's it.
It's delightful.
That's all you have to say.
Bring it over to your right a little bit. Your right the other way. Yep. There you go. Now slowly turn the bottle.
Slowly turn the
You don't have to listen to Stefan. It's fine.
Yeah, just give it a little lick.
I'm so glad that Alan called out a different sound guy.
Yeah, do we have to bleep his name out?
No, but he literally told me that story. I'm like, you did what? Dude,
Yes.
we fucking hate generators.
Like, run the Jenny for my Tesla. Okay.
That's awesome. He put it in his trunk and closed the car.
That's crazy.
Oh, fucking sound guys, man. Jesus.
All right, on that note, this has been Round Drinks.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.
See you on the next one.